Well, we maybe moved just there, so it's a wee bit wider there, but that person was on the phone. And just, if we kind of watch so that people can get by. Right, so on Chambers Street, we're outside Adam House, which is the School of Architecture in Edinburgh University. And women's medicine, or women's health, is often called bikini medicine because it's for everything to do within your pants and in your boobs. And rather annoyingly, there's a bus in the way of my punchline, which either he's running late or I am, because that's not happened before. So opposite the architecture school on the door, there's a couple of big jugs on the outside of it that you'll see in a minute. So we were going to talk about breasts for bikini medicine, because there we go. See? A pair of jugs. So in 2006, the film Happy Feet was released. You know, the one with the dancing penguin? It was brilliant. And the reason animation was so good, because they had new technology that they could put sensors onto dancers' bodies and they could record the movement, and that's how they could make the penguin move so brilliantly. In 2011, some very smart person who happened to be a woman at Bournemouth University thought, what if we took that technology and put them onto breasts? We could figure out how boobs move, because nobody had ever looked at this before, which sounds crazy. How many of you that wear bras have not worn a bra for 18 months? Because they're shit. They're not comfortable, and it's because they've always been designed to do a job that nobody's really understood. And it wasn't until this research that they realised that breasts move in 3 planes, which if you've got them you know about, but bra manufacturers have not taken any notice of. Now the problem with that is that large breasts that aren't properly strapped down are a barrier to exercise. It's the 4th most common barrier to exercise for women. And also when, you know, the Olympics have just finished and the Paralympics are coming on. So if you're talking about elite sport, micro advantage. Do you want to move in a wee bit? Sorry, thank you. Thank you. Micro advantage is what elite sport's all about, and it would appear that nobody has thought, I wonder what would happen to Venus's serve if we strapped her knockers down a wee bit. Big boobs that are swinging around change the way you run. It reduces the movement in your torso and it shortens your stride length by 25%. So female athletes that are well endowed, that are running a marathon, are actually running a marathon in a quarter in effort. This is kind of obvious stuff that you would have thought they would have done something about. I don't have the size of lung capacity to generate enough of a sigh to express my feeling about this. As far as medicine is concerned, breasts are only really there to grow disease and feed babies. Now I fed my own babies mainly because I looked at the price of formula and thought, fuck that. I need money at the end of the month for vodka and fags. Do you know what I mean? So what I could have done with though was information about how the milk comes out your nipples, because I assumed it was like water coming out of a tap, but it's like water coming out of a shower. And that would have been handy to know, because when I'm sitting struggling with my firstborn and she was like a writhing gremlin, you know, it's quite hard to get them to latch on when you don't know what you're doing and they don't know what you're doing. I was sitting in the settee next to my father. Now, my dad is not very comfortable with, you know, lots of things to do with women, and he was studiously looking at this wallpaper that he hadn't paid attention to for 25 years since he last put it up, so he didn't have to look and see that not only did I have breasts, but I had an infant in my lap, because we were still all pretending that I was a virgin, and that was much easier for everybody concerned. So the man's looking at that and he went, Margaret, that's my mum, Margaret, we've got a drip from the bathroom. And I had a wee rogue spurter that was sailing right across to the end of the settee, landing on my father's bald head and dripping down the side of his face. We should tell women that stuff, because my daddy is traumatised and we've never spoken about it since. So, back to the front bottom. So the next organ that we're going to add to our vulva is the labia minora. And, oh, for goodness sake, I hope this doesn't happen to yours. So, oh, it might be the wrong one. So, labia minora are, there we go, are a bit like belly buttons. You know, you can have an innie or you can have an outie. Both are normal. They come in a variety of sizes and shapes and colours and thicknesses and stretchinesses. There we go. And lots of women are really anxious about the size and shape of their labia because we don't tend to see what normal is, you know. So all you know is that yours is weird. That's common, huh? It's quite unusual for labia to be problematic. You know, basically, unless they're tripping you up in the street, they're probably all right and don't really need trimming down. That it's okay. Some cultures appreciate bigger labia than others. My friend's from Zimbabwe, so when she was 12, her mother gave her the period talk, and at the end of the period talk, she was taught how to stretch her labia because big, long, dangling labia are much more attractive in women over there, and she was told she had to do it every single day from the age of 12 until she got married. And Tintin ascribes that to the reason that she's a lesbian. Because she's sitting, I mean, you tell me, she's sitting around with her wee pals and they're all doing their labia stretching together. If you had a bit of a homosexual tendency, it's going to come out there and then, isn't it? So your labia minora join together at the top to form the clitoral hood, and it's there to protect the terribly tickly bit from, you know, getting in the way when you're going around your business by getting irritated by the seams of your jeans. And if you're sexually aroused, it retracts so that, you know, makes it easier to enjoy your business. These things have got erectile tissue in them, so they swell up when you're sexually aroused, and their job is to grip and to provide lubrication. So that's why it's not great to cut them off, because they're actually quite handy. And if you do need surgery on them, you can get scar tissue developing, which can be a bit difficult if they're then swelling and relaxing again. If you're interested to know what other women's vulvas look like, I would recommend that you become a pelvic health physio because it's minge-tastic. There's millions of them out there. Or, you know, try homosexuality, that works as well. If neither of those things float your bag, there's a couple of resources online. There's a thing called the Labia Library, which is funded by the Australian government because they're concerned about the spike in young girls presenting for labiaplasty. So they've got lots of photographs of people of different ages and races and shapes and sizes. It's not designed to be titillating. I'm not saying it's not titillating, but that's not what its design is. And you can have a wee look and see if you can spot one that's just like yours. So our next stop is the vagina. If you've got any questions, you know, just shout them out as you go along. Oh, good. The song is Amanda Palmer, Map of Tasmania.